Chase Daniel, co-host of the Athletics Scoop City podcast and host of the Chase Daniel Show. You'll find it on YouTube. Always one of our favorites. He makes us smarter. All right, when you look at these quarterbacks, Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, how do you pick somebody to be your starter out of those two? Like, what would be the deciding factor here?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're going with pure athleticism, it would be Anthony Richardson. But I think what Shane Steichen, at least what I read and have seen, has been looking for, it's someone who can run the huddle, who can get in and out of the huddle, who can get us into the right plays at the right time, who knows how to fix protections, who knows, when to check to a go route versus slant route. I'm not saying Anthony Richardson can't do that, but it's an all-encompassing thing, and that's what quarterbacks is. It's not just, hey, go out there, throw a bomb 70 yards down the field like Anthony Richardson we've seen him do, and you're completing 40-something% of your passes. I think that's sort of what Shane Steichen, I think that's what Chris Ballard sort of wants. And look, Daniel Jones has some athleticism, and I appreciate that. But when you look at the whole thing, I actually love the fact that they came out and they named Daniel Jones a starter, because it takes all the pressure off Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson, if Daniel Jones struggles, he can go in there. He can maybe provide a spark. And I like to say this a lot because I've been on the sideline a lot, right? I only started 5 years of my career. You get a different perspective from the sideline. You're able to see what is happening in a different manner than you would be behind the center. And it's not only on the field, but it's also in the classroom as well. How does Daniel Jones prepare? How does Daniel Jones handle blitzes? You do all this stuff, and I think it's a great learning experience for Anthony Richardson. I mean, the talent is undeniable. He just hasn't been able to put it together.
Yeah, I wonder how long we wait before we move on with quarterbacks, because it used to be you could be drafted and you might sit for 2 years, 3 years back, 25 years ago. Now it feels like, all right, we've seen two years maybe, and then maybe that's enough, whether it was Mitchell Trubisky or you're looking at Trey Lance or you're looking at Zach Wilson. And we don't give you that much time anymore because there's so many other quarterbacks that you can go, why don't we just, reset the clock and draft another quarterback?
That's exactly right. And honestly, if you look at the 2026 class coming out of college, it's a really deep class. It reminds me of 2 years ago, like with Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix. So I'm sure that GMs have their eyes on that, and they've already scouted. There's could be possibly 4 to 5 to 6 quarterbacks go in the first round. So I do think, signing Daniel Jones, he's not going to be, I don't think, the future of the Indianapolis Colts. I don't know if they're moving on yet. I know Ballard personally. I've talked to him a little bit. I think that they really want Anthony Richardson to work out, but they don't have that time because if they don't win this year, Shane Steichen, Chris Ballard, they're probably gone. So they have to figure out something, and that something, I guess, is Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and I kind of look at the Colts and I look at the Giants. If I'm ownership of the Giants and I still believe in Brian Daboll, then I have to let him know that his job is safe. Because if his job is safe, then he's going to play Jaxson Dart a little bit. If his job's not safe, he's going to play Russell Wilson, and I don't think that helps the bigger picture. But you've looked at Jaxson Dart in the preseason. Yeah. What do you see?
He's played excellent. And I'm of the camp, and I might be the only people, especially outside of New York Giants fans, that say, I think Jaxson Dart needs to play sooner rather than later. Let me break it down for you. I like Russell Wilson, future Hall of Famer. He lives right down the street from me. I'm in car drop-off, literally with Sierra today, dropping my kids off. Like, we go to school, like all that stuff. But when Jaxson Dart plays, he's got something about him that brings a little bit of a spark. You watch these preseason games that he was playing in, and Brian Daboll is running a little bit of that Ole Miss style offense. You see that fake pitch, toss, like middle route by the tight end. That was a play they ran at Ole Miss. You see this this up-tempo style offense. I'm not saying Russell Wilson can't do this. Jaxson Dart's a better athlete at right now in his career than Russell Wilson. But if you are Brian Daboll and you are Joe Schoen, if you don't play Jaxson Dart and you don't make the playoffs and you ride with Russell Wilson, your jobs are gone, in my opinion. Yeah. Like, I don't think you make it through. Whereas you play Jaxson Dart early, and it's a brutal stretch. 6 of their first 8 games are against playoff teams. It's the hardest schedule in the NFL. If you play Jaxson Dart early, though, and you get 7, 8 wins and you show some hope down the stretch, you're going to keep your job. I think that's how they need to proceed with this. Now, I get it. You don't want to throw the rookie in with all these crazy defenses that they have to face. But the only way to play and to gain experience is, guess what, Dan? You have to play. You actually have to go out there and do it. And so I think that's what they need to do with Jaxson Dart.
I think a lot of times we'll just see highlights or we'll read something and then we'll take our opinion from that. And I've specifically watched when Dillon Gabriel played, and I watched when Shedeur Sanders played, because I wanted to be fair to this situation instead of just taking somebody's opinion on that. And granted, it's my opinion, but that's what this show is based on. I'm watching Dillon Gabriel, and I saw good things with Dillon Gabriel. I saw a tight end who should have, got a pass, and it ended up being intercepted. But I don't know if we will grade him the same way we'll grade Shedeur Sanders. You looked at both of them. What did you take away from their performances?
I couldn't agree more with you. I think you're right on, Dan. And when you look at Shedeur and you look at the first game, he was electric. I mean, it really was. He made some throws. He missed some throws. His first throw in the NFL, right, was a 500-mile-per-hour slant route that went right through the guys because he was jacked up and he was ready, and that's normal. And I think we need to normalize this, but he gets so much fanfare for other reasons that I think that we grade him on a different scale. And then when you look at what Dillon Gabriel did, the whole first drive and really most of the game was really, really good. Now, you make 2 mistakes, and I think the handoff, based on what I saw and what I know of the play they were running, I put that more on the running back. He was a little wide on his track. And then you look at the interception. You have 2 receivers literally in the same spot, and he throws it in the middle of them. And I'm like, okay, that's probably the mistake that you want to just eat and say, hey, just continue on the run. He stopped in the pocket going out to his left. He should have continued on the run, or just dirt it, live to fight another down. But there's some outside pressure on him to play well, and he wants to make every throw. And he's more of the short intermediate throw, but he was excellent. He was on rhythm. He was in rhythm. He was on time. He was pinpoint accuracy. And I thought it was a good start for them. But if you look at the stats, which I don't love to do, you're going to be like, oh, man, he has got 2 turnovers. It led to 13 points. I thought it was a pretty good start. Maybe I'm in the minority on it.
He's Chase Daniel, co-host, The Athletic Scoop City, and it's a podcast, also the Chase Daniel Show on YouTube. Speaking of putting it in the dirt, Joe Burrow still taking hits in preseason.
What are you doing?
Why? Why?
Oh, I don't know. And I saw that, and everyone saw Buck was like, it's August, Joe, throw it away. I was laughing. I'm like, what are you doing? You're the franchise. Like, if you go down with his injury history, I get it. I do love the fact that the head coach there is playing the starters. He's taking the Andy Reid approach. Zach Taylor is. They haven't played in a long time in the preseason. And if you look at their record in the first 2 weeks of the season, since Zach Taylor has been the head coach, they're 1-11. And that is awful. Like, they just don't start fast. I think that playing, and I was with the Andy Reid tree, and even Sean Payton, he played some of the starters in the preseason to sort of get the juices flowing. I would say to Joe, like, you don't need to take the hit to get the juices flowing, but he has 3 drives this preseason and 3 touchdowns. They're going to be just fine if they can figure out what the heck is going on with Trey Hendrickson and that defense.
The Matthew Stafford situation, it was a curiosity. Now it feels like it's a concern. It's a back issue at that position. What do you think? How would you handicap this?
Look, I know Matthew Stafford well, grew up in the same area in Dallas, and played with him in 2020. He's one of the strongest and toughest dudes that I've ever met when it comes to injury. There's always seems to be a nagging elbow or an ankle that just isn't right, or a right shoulder, or there's just always something. And it's just because he's getting old like me. He's my age, right? We're 38, almost 39. It's hard to play quarterback in the league. But when you get with a back injury and you have a back injury, it's a little bit different because of the type of thrower of the football he is. He's not an arm thrower, which means, hey, you just put all your stress on the arm and that's all that matters and that's all it takes. you are really turning and you are really much of a core thrower. So you're torquing your body, and he has such good mechanics. He goes to Tom House, the guru who worked with Drew Brees and Tom Brady. He's consistently working and perfecting his craft. But those type of throwers, right? I don't know if you've dealt with any back pain. I have a little bit. It just the finest of torque on the shoulder or the head leads down to the neck that then connects. Everything's connected, and it's really difficult. I'm going to be interested to see how he throws the football, if he has the same amount of zip on it. But ultimately, like, the dude's an Iron Man. He rarely misses games. I think eventually he'll be fine. It doesn't help that he missed some camp, though.
Would you rather have Joe Flacco's career or Phillip Rivers?
Oh my gosh. Where did this question come from? Look, Phillip was great. I feel like Phillip never won the big game, right? Like he always had these winning season that the playoffs always got from him. I'd probably go Joe Flacco because the dude just doesn't die. Like, he's just continuing to play. He's a starting quarterback. He's 40-something years old. He's got a chance to do it again. I actually played golf with him a couple months ago in a tournament here in Orange County. And you never know, like obviously, other than the size, like, he is just a normal dude. Like, it was awesome. He's like talking about his kids. He has his crew of kids who are like 16 years old, just like running around, following him around. It just looks like a normal dude. And I'm like, bro, are you playing? He's like, I don't know. I think so. But, it's just like one of those things where it's really cool. He's just chugging along, man.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for that it was never too high, never too low, never too big for him. He just kind of, I mean, you're 2 years younger than him.
Yeah, which is crazy. It's nuts. I mean, he just continues to do it, and I wouldn't be surprised if he plays well. I mean, you saw what he did in 2023 with Kevin Stefanski. He went 4-1 down the stretch, right? He didn't play very well last year, but it's going to be a tough division to do. I just don't know. Like, I'm of the thinking, right? Like, I think it's smart to play Joe Flacco. What's going to happen to Kenny Pickett? I don't know. But you got those two rookies. Like, I'm of the camp of, like, you need to play one of the rookies, because you need to see what you have going forward, if any of them are the answer, based on the 2026 draft class, which Cleveland has 2 first-round picks in.
Yeah, my only concern with Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders is, will you give them enough of a runway that you can find out if they can play before you go, I don't know, let's use these 2 first-round picks and move up and get a franchise quarterback. That would be the only concern that I would have, that they get a fair shake to prove that they can play or not.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that would be 8 to 10 games. So what, Flacco gets 7 games to prove, hey, if they're 2-5 through 7, like, do you make the switch? Probably. If you're 5-2, no, and then you're rolling with Flacco, because Kevin Stefanski, 2-time coach of the year. I don't think he wants to lose his job. I don't think he's going to lose his job. But if stuff, crazier things have happened, it's a really precarious situation that they've sort of put themselves into.
Great to talk to you again. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
That's Chase Daniel, co-host of the Athletic Scoop City podcast and the Chase Daniel Show on YouTube, which is great because he kind of just takes you into the film room and breaks things down. Really, really very intelligent when it comes to breaking down these quarterbacks.